Hello guys, welcome to another episode. I keep saying episode, I mean video, I'm sorry. Welcome to another video. This is literally just gonna be me talking about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the show. I didn't originally plan on talking about it, but I feel like because I kind of talked it up so much in my rereading videos, I feel like I should talk about it now that the show's out, because I was really hyping it up and I was really excited. I had to wait until it came to Netflix in August because I live in the US, not in the UK, so I had to wait an extra month, which hurt, but I did it. I powered through and I did it. I also would like to say, during that month of waiting, I avoided everything. I avoided a lot of Holly Jackson's Instagram stuff because I didn't want to spoil anything for myself. I avoided anyone on any social media talking about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I did everything I could not to spoil anything because I wanted to go in with just as empty of a mind as I could. I read the book, so I already knew what was going to happen, but I was still surprised. I don't know if I would say I was pleasantly surprised. It was very, very different. I'm honestly kind of disappointed. Now, before we actually get into this, I do want to say no hate to anyone who likes the show. It was fine. It was just, I was expecting more resemblance of the book than what we got, and I'll go into details and stuff later. I just want to do a little disclaimer first. I'm not hating on the show. There was nothing wrong with it. It was fine. It just wasn't what I was wanting or expecting. Again, I'll get more into details after my little spew here, but if you like the show and love the books, that's totally fine. I'm not hating on anyone who thinks differently. This is strictly my opinion. No one's wrong here. It's just how I felt, and if you felt the same way, then we could share that in the comments or something, or if you felt differently, you can express that too in the comments. Just no hate and no being mean, because there's no need for it, okay? I'm purely just expressing my opinions on this show. Okay, so for me, I'm kind of iffy when it comes to watching shows or movies based off of books, because it's always so different, I feel like. Or books I haven't read that are TV shows, I stay away from, because I do plan on reading. The Summer I Turned Pretty, that's a TV show. I have not read the books. I plan to, I just haven't gotten to it, nor will I watch the TV show, at least not until I've read the books. That's just how I work. So this, for me, was genuinely the first TV show becoming a movie for me, after reading and loving A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, finding out about the TV show. I was so excited because Holly Jackson, the author, was really, really involved in the show, and she did so much and she did so good on it. So I was really excited. In my mind was okay, so this can't differ too much from the book. I also want to clarify that obviously I read the US version. I haven't read the UK version. I know that they're slightly different, but I don't think major plot points changed much in between the books. I think it was just street names and a little character differences. I don't think it was huge plot changing differences. So again, that's why I'm sharing my thoughts. If the UK version is completely different, let me know, and then I wouldn't mind reading the UK versions. I'll totally get those. Let's get into my thoughts. First, I want to talk about the characters because I feel like that's important. First off, I felt like the mom was way more involved in the show than in the book. Like, in the book, she was okay with Pip doing the project. She had her concerns, but she didn't actively say, you can't do this, like she did in the show when Pip kind of was starting to get into the darker parts and she was letting it consume her. In the show, her mom was like, you're not doing this. In the book, the mom never did that in the first book. She did it in the second and third book, but she was very supportive in the first book. Her main concern was Pip letting it consume all of her time so she didn't get her other schoolwork done. That was her only concern and issue with her doing this project in the book. In the show, it felt more like she didn't want Pip doing it because it involved Ravi Singh. It felt like when she found out that Pip was investigating actively with him, it just felt like she didn't like that. And that, like, made her not want Pip doing it anymore. That's how I took it. That's how it just seemed to me. Also, Nat in the show was best friends with Andy. In the book, Nat hates Andy. She can't stand her because Andy bullied Nat all through high school. And she even leaked her special photos. I don't know if I could say the actual words. We're just going to say her special photos. In the show, her special photos did still get leaked, but Nat doesn't think it was Andy. We know from reading the book it was Andy. Was it Andy in the show? That was not clarified, so I'm just gonna go and say yes, because it's in the books that Andy is the one who leaked it, because she and Nat are not friends. Also, that leads me to my second point. Where was Chloe? Chloe was supposed to be Andy's other best friend. It was Emma, Chloe, and Andy. Not Emma, Nat, and Andy. No. So they, like, completely replaced Chloe with Nat, and I don't know what was going on there, because the main reason for having Nat is because she dislikes Andy so much. She's supposed to be a suspect. Also, her brother Daniel, way more involved in the show than in the book. In the book, Pip goes up to him after they do, like, a town meeting and asks him questions. That's their first encounter. In the show, Daniel is the one who goes up to Pip, and he just kind of doesn't leave her alone. He kind of low-key stalks her, actually. So that was really different. That was kind of weird when I was watching the show, and he just kept looking at Pip. I was a little confused. I was like, who is this guy? Why is he just staring her down? So didn't really like that. I don't know. It just kind of felt like they were trying to push him to be suspicious when he wasn't really suspicious. He was just kind of stalking. So yeah, I don't know what the plan there was, but it was definitely different from the book. I have, like, a little note of everything because I don't want to miss something. So also, Naomi was a little different in the show than she was in the book. So was Kara. Naomi seemed more standoffish in the show than she was in the book. In the book, she was very friendly. She was hesitant but open to talking about Sal and what went down. She was actually really helpful in the books. More helpful and friendly in the books than she was in the show. Sure, in the show she did help towards the end, but I don't know, it just felt like they took a lot of details and just, like, switched them around, and I did not like that. Like, when Naomi confesses about the car accident, in the book, she's doing a study group thing with Kara, Max, obviously Naomi's there, and then Pip shows up. In the show, it's the 5-year graduation party, and she is alone with Pip, and then Max like barges in after she's already spilled the beans. So that was weird. And that was different. Yeah. I do want to say though, the dad, he was amazing. I loved the dad. He was cool. He was fun. You know, anytime he got on screen, I was like, yay. Mr. Ward hardly made an appearance. He showed up in like 2 episodes before they were like, oh my god, he's the one, he's the suspect. And like the whole chase to finding out where he's going instead of tutoring was different as well. Pip finds him suspicious, and then immediately, like, she's in the car with everyone, they're getting a ride or rides home, she immediately just drops her phone and then like goes into investigation mode. In the book, she drops her phone off after like spraining her ankle and getting a ride, and then she tracks it, and then she goes there without she doesn't really follow Mr. Ward there, but she goes there to like see what's going on. He's there, so she confronts him. It was just different. Also, Kara was more negative about the whole project. I get that she was trying to protect her sister, but in the book, she seemed more okay with it, but it also, in the book, felt like she didn't fully know what was going on. Yeah, Pip and Kara in the show fought more about it than they did in the books, which this might just be me nitpicking it, but it didn't feel like Kara. So yeah, there's that whole thing. There was kind of a lot. Also, Howie Bowers, we meet him at the Calamity party, and in the book, Pip goes to a gas station to find out who this guy is, and then she follows him to the trailer park where he lives, and that's their first encounter. He, in the book, does not go to the parties because they are for high schoolers, and he's just wanting to sell drugs. That's why he has teenagers go to the parties for him and do that stuff. So yeah, it was just different, and it just wasn't my favorite. I didn't like it that much. Also, Stanley Forbes did not make any appearance at all. I was waiting. He did not show up. In the book, he's one of the first people Pip interviews, and when she's at the gas station trying to see if she can find who Howie Bowers is, Stanley meets up with him, and that kind of leads and helps with the second book, so that's kind of like important for the story. So I was wondering if she was going to do like a season 2 for the second book and a season 3 for the third book, but with all of this changed, I'm a little worried to see if they're going to progress or just leave it there, because if they leave it where it is, then like that's fine. I can almost come to terms with the changes, but if they're adding the other books, I'm kind of scared, and I don't know where the story is going to go. So yeah, I also want to talk about the investigation, and then I've got a few little plot points kind of that happened in the book and in the show that just felt odd. So let's get into the investigation first. So she immediately goes to Ravi. Well, she kind of stalks him actually, and like walking her dog as a decoy with a thing of muffins, which was odd, but like it was fine. I let it go. I was like, it's okay. And the way she talked in the show felt kind of more, what's the word? Inconsiderate, I will say. In the book, she was very well with her words, knew what to say. She was kind of able to, like, persuade and, like, almost manipulate people into saying what she wanted them to say and answering her questions. And she really had a way with, having people open up just with, like, how she talked and held herself. In the show, so many people shut her down because she goes about it all wrong. She doesn't show the empathy. She's just like, yes, I'm doing this case, give me answers. She's not like, hey, I know this really sucks, you don't have to, but it would really help me out and maybe we could figure out what actually happened, because I don't think this is the truth. She doesn't do that. She just straight up goes, hey, give me answers. She doesn't say it like that, but that's essentially the vibe that she gives off when she goes to these people. And it's very understandably why in the show they're very upset and don't give her answers, because she just goes about it all wrong. And I don't know, it almost felt like she was almost, for being really, really smart, it felt like she was a real airhead when it came to talking to people and getting answers for this investigation. Like, I don't know what went on there. I don't know why there was a difference there. It just felt like it was kind of going in circles. Also, my dad's cutting grass outside, so if you hear that, my apologies. But it felt very much like it was just going in circles, because she would go to someone who she thought could help. She would go about it all wrong. They would slam the door in her face and not help because she just hurt them, hurt their feelings in a way, and she'd be back at square one. But she'd go to, like, a different person, and it was just like, how are you getting from point A to B? I was a little lost and confused. And, you know, in the book, she very much gives herself, like, a really, like, opened path. She gets the answers she's looking for. She finds out who else was involved. She goes to them, and then, you know, it all stacks up, and she puts all the pieces together. In the show, it did not feel like that. And I do want to get into the plot points now, because they, to me, are important. Pip's encounter with Becca kind of just, like, walks up to her and was like, hey, why are you doing this? In the book, Pip sees Becca and she tells Josh, because she's with Josh in the book, getting sandwiches, I believe. She tells him to, like, go outside and wait with their dog. And she goes and talks to her, introduces herself, and is like, I would love to talk to you about what happened if you wouldn't mind. If you don't want to talk about it, that's totally fine. In the show, Becca goes up to Pip and is like, why are you doing this? And she's kind of mean about it, but again, it's understandable because it's her sister who went missing and died 5 years ago. So it's understandable. But still, it's just like, Becca in the book was so much sweeter. She just seemed like such a sweet, innocent soul, which I feel like is why it made the ending so shocking, to find out what actually happened. Now, I will say, they kept the ending the same. They kept the, like, major plots the same, which, I mean, if they would have changed that, I would not be here. But yeah, so, I don't know, she just seemed more rude and just not as sweet and innocent as she was portrayed in the books. So yeah, that was weird. And then that led Pip to tell Ravi she wasn't going to. In the book, Pip keeps investigating, up until Barney gets killed, and she quits because she wants Barney back. So that's what leads her to tell Ravi she's not doing it in the book. In the show, it's just Becca being mean. And then, like, a couple hours later to, like, a day later, she's back at Ravi's being like, oh my god, I found a lead. And then they still killed the dog. She didn't quit after that, but it almost felt like they didn't need to do that. I thought they had the whole Becca thing. I thought they did that so they wouldn't have to kill the dog, but they still ended up killing the dog, which kind of just felt a little pointless. I get that they were trying to threaten her, but nothing actually came out of that other than the dog's dead and everyone's depressed. So yeah, it felt like they didn't need to do that. It felt like they could have gotten their point across in a different way. Also in the book, it took like a couple days before they found Barney. In the show, it was pretty much immediately after. Yeah, all Pip had to do was just delete a video she posted about how she was going to come after the person who killed Andy. And then my final point, the girl in the attic. Elliot Ward has a girl in the attic who he thought was Andy. In the book, he genuinely thought it was Andy because she looked so similar. In the show, he knows that is not Andy, but he still keeps her in the attic. What? And when Pip finds the girl, she goes, I'm not Andy Bell. In the book, she says, hi, I'm Andy Bell. So that was different. That felt off. Didn't feel real. So yeah. They don't elaborate anymore on who the girl is in the show, but in the book, she is a mentally ill young woman who went missing and gets reunited with her parents. Long story short, in the book, or in the show, they see her, she goes, I'm not Andy Bell. She basically tells Pip everything that happened, and then they send her off. There's no cops being like, oh my god, it's Andy Bell. There's no Pip driving away and running into the Bell family in the car, distraught because they got a call about Andy being alive when she's not. That didn't happen. It just felt really weird. Also, Becca's friend from high school that went to the Calamity. I keep wanting to say Calamity because that's how I read it in the book, so that's like how I pronounced it in my mind. But in the show, they kept calling it a Calamity, and it threw me off. So, like, excuse me if I mess up the wording or pronunciation, but they go to the Calamity party, and you know, Becca gets assaulted by Max and the whole situation. That stayed the same, but I will say her friend is introduced because she finds Pip in the back of a van in a junkyard that apparently Jason owns. In the book, he owns a cleaning service and a lawn service. He does not own a junkyard, which was weird. So yeah, that was another major difference. But yeah, anyway, Becca's friend, she gave off more like a tomboy-esque alt vibes. In the book, she really gave off girly vibes. So that was just a little difference. That one's not really that big. That was just a little like, oh, that's weird. I didn't picture this character to be like this, but oh well, that's fine. That's all I have for this video, the differences of the show and the book. I'm not saying the show was awful, I'm just saying it was very different from the book, and I was kind of expecting it to be more similar, but again, I understand why they make changes. I'm not throwing hate, This is not a hate video. This is just me pointing out different things. Expectations versus reality in a way. Yeah, so give me a like, comment down your thoughts. If you agree, if you disagree, I would love to know. And I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!